Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Chocolate Saiyan, Flatzoid, Paul, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hey.
Yo, 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 yo. Привет.
Greetings. So I'm going to do pretty much the same thing I did in the intro to the pre-show, which is before we get into housekeeping, I'm going to do a couple of quick shout-outs, if that's all right by everybody. Plus, I've lost my light switch. I can't turn my light off or see anything. God damn it, there it is. Here we go. So I'm going to do a couple of quick shout-outs. I don't know if people can remember me twerking for subs. Wasn't exactly the most successful thing, but the only thing I can think to do in reverse is to shout out people I like. So I actually approached Martin and said, can you give me a quick shout out, please? And Martin said he would. I don't know if he actually did or not, but nevertheless, I'm going to do the same thing for Martin. It works both ways. So Martin Leakey, otherwise known as Flat Earth British. So this is Martin. You can probably see him here. I'll give you a blast of Martin. Hear him? There you go, that's Martin. So what I've done is I've put the first link in the live stream chat is to Martin Leakey's channel. So go and check him out. Very, very fascinating character. If you would, tell him I sent you. So say Nathan sent me to subscribe to you, Martin. Excellent channel that you've got. So please let him know that I've sent you to his channel to subscribe. It's the first link in the live stream chat box. Also, Taboo Conspiracy 3. He produced an absolutely blinder of a video, superb in every single respect. Nature's Flat Earth Schemes. Truly brilliant summary of everything you could possibly ever want to know about Flat Earth. You could easily squeeze all of the housekeeping questions and top 3 Flat Earth proofs and globe destroyers into that video in some capacity with evidence, with everything you could possibly ever want. So check out Taboo Conspiracy 3. His link is the second link down in the live stream chat. So those are the 2 videos. I'll just give you a quick summary again. So it's Martin Leaker. If you're listening to this as opposed to watching it, it's MartinLiedtke. So that's Martin Leaker, otherwise known as Flat Earth British, and Ben, which is Taboo Conspiracy I. So 3 words: Taboo Conspiracy I. So check them both out. Subscribe today. Links are in the live stream chat. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
Not even from the base platform of the Foucault pendulum.
No, because they are even throwing the horizon way. They're saying even the horizon has nothing to do with curve.
Do not see the geometric horizon. These are not the droids you are looking for.
According to them, there is no Earth curve anymore.
You don't have to see it in the real world. You just have to think about what they're describing. That's the experiment. That's
Just thinking
These
about
things
it
are only
makes
conceptual. You're right,
boats
Arwin.
disappear bottom up. Definitely. Just think about it.
Yeah,
That's
think
how
about
it works.
the horizon as an Earth curve edge getting in the way. It's all conceptual. Arwin's spot on.
Well, he did say it's mathematical.
Yeah, abstract.
But that's the thing. They're even throwing away the horizon now. So what can they say is curve then?
Nothing. There isn't any Earth curve. We're on a flat plane. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Do we
You would
see
need
drift on
15
anything?
degree. Yeah,
Other
you would
than
need-
pendulums doing figure eights, I don't know.
No, they just
Well,
do
the
that.
wind-
Aldon chocolate, that's got nothing to do with Earth turning underneath or Coriolis
Oh,
effect.
it's
That's everything to do
irrelevant.
with... That's just what pendulums do. They just do that.
Right. Well, the wind over here is
That-
perfectly still.
One at a time.
Pendulums just go forward and backwards. That's all. Are they saying the precession is Earth turn?
Yeah, unless you're at trench level like Rumpus and you don't understand how a pendulum works, and then you'll assert that pendulums just have a round and round motion. Or maybe even figure of 8. And they just do that. It's nothing to do with Earth turning underneath. We don't have Earth turning underneath. Even the Rumpus knows that.
Well, Nathan, technically, a pendulum doesn't do anything. It does not move unless you give it something.
What a push.
You know, without man interfering with it, it's just gonna hang straight down like a
Well,
plumb.
I wasn't claiming it was an experiment. They often do, and if they did, I'd ask them to take me to their naturally occurring pendulums.
Well, my family owns a grandfather clock and has a pendulum, and it never does a figure 8.
No, but as I say, if someone wants to assert this as an experiment, then you'd ask them for the naturally occurring drift occurring in the natural phenomena that they've observed in a pendulum that we see every day. Because obviously we go outside and see pendulums drifting. And we know instinctively that they shouldn't be, and that they're natural perfectly, and therefore are open to experimentation. And no. Moving on. Go on, whoever that was.
But it's
Sorry.
actually quite simple. If the pendulum was turning, precessing because of Earth's turn, you wouldn't have to even move the pendulum, nothing. It should be able to move on its own because
That's
it's
correct.
separate to Earth.
That's correct. You'd never have any stationary pendulums. You're right. They'd just start swinging on their own if Earth was turning underneath.
And you
That's
would see that
problematic
all the
though, because
time.
then
You
plumb
go,
wouldn't work anymore.
you go by a construction site and you see all the cranes moving, all
Yeah.
the balls and the cranes. They would all move just like that.
Yeah, they
Why
don't.
doesn't
We're being
that happen?
sarcastic. Let's just for a moment, because we're drifting too far into the territory where newbies won't appreciate that we're being sarcastic. Pendulums move back and forth, and it's claimed with the Foucault demonstration with a pendulum swinging back and forth that Earth's turning underneath it to give you an apparent deflection of 15 degrees an hour. That's what they claim. That's what's supposed to be proving Earth spins. A second reference frame turning underneath the pendulum that swings back and forth. However, that would mean that Earth was a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Who's making all that noise in G+? Earth would be a non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath stuff not attached, and you'd only have to throw a ball up in the air on the equator and watch it whiz away 1,000 miles an hour because you're turning underneath it, causing it to appear to drift away as you turned away from it. But of course we don't see that. So at trench level they have to deny the claim that the Foucault pendulum's supposed to be proving Earth's turning underneath it 15 degrees an hour to cause it seeming to drift. Because pendulums don't drift. They just move back and forth. Of course, fundies don't either understand that or would rather be called an idiot than concede that the pendulum's supposed to be showing Earth turning underneath, and we can very easily debunk that claim. Things don't whiz away 1,000 miles an hour on the equator as Earth turns underneath them. Any scientific...
So,
Go on, Chocolate, go.
no, I think it was just me. So how would they so the pendulum is attached to the ground, correct? By
Yep.
something. So the drift would happen because the pendulum is swinging above the ground.
Yeah, so regardless, they've got it on a twilting, whatever you call it, a circular bolt that's stuck in, so it can obviously drift and show this effect as it swings back and forth in one motion. Well, why do you see it knock over the dominoes? Well, because it's claimed Earth's turning underneath it 15 degrees an hour to cause it appear to drift.
It has like a circular bolt, you said?
Yeah, it wouldn't do it at all if it was
ball.
fixed in a rigid axis. It couldn't do it. So it's got to be able to physically be capable of turning as it's claimed Earth turns underneath. But the motion of the gyro is always going to be the same, forward and backwards, forwards and backwards. Well, why does it knock over the dominoes then? Obviously, it's twisting, right? No, it's claimed Earth's a second non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath it.
So what would
amazing.
be causing that? Because the Earth spinning shouldn't. It would have to be the air. Because it's still attached to the ground technically. So it wouldn't move
So is a
at
gyro.
all.
It doesn't matter. The gyro is fixed to
Right.
the ground, but you still see the same effect because its frame of reference, in the case of a gyro spinning, in a fixed frame of reference. Well, a pendulum swings in a fixed frame of reference, swings back and forth. That's all it does. Well, why is it moving off that fixed course back and forth, or in a gyro's case, spinning round and round? Why does the cage move around it? Because it's claimed Earth turns underneath it. Of course, that would mean that Earth's turning underneath stuff. And if it's not attached physically with a cage or bolted to a ceiling like a pendulum, it would fly away on the equator 1,000 miles an hour and doesn't.
Right.
So
but could
I just
Sorry.
thought of something because I've had conversations with Bob about that. Not about this, but about Coriolis. If Bob or any of them believe that Foucault's pendulum is a valid experiment, it would invalidate their claims that planes conserve the momentum of the ground.
Yeah, but the
Gives a shit what Bob
Hold on.
claims.
The conservation of momentum has nothing to do with the claim that's supposed to be proving Earth spins. So when someone comes to me and says, well, we claim Earth travels with... I don't care. That's not drift. The thing that's supposed to prove we spin is drift. 15 degrees an hour of it. What's that? You say, I assume Earth spins, and I assume a plane turns off and is unaffected because it moves with it. So no drift then, no proof we're spinning then. No 15 degrees an hour deviation of the two, because the plane's supposed to deviate from its path because the ground turns underneath it. So if it's not turning underneath the plane, then it's not drifting and there's no proof we spin.
So could
Right,
we state that?
but you can't say both of those things. So like, I'm not talking about you, but for instance, Bob will say the Coriolis effect, makes planes deviate from their course, which isn't true anyways, because wind is the only thing that does that. But he says both are true.
Who's Bob?
That the Foucault's pendulum is true. Bob, the
Who's Bob?
science guy.
Bob Nodell.
No, Bob the science guy. Well, he doesn't understand
the
Coriolis
fantasy
then.
guy.
If he says that
Oh, I'm not
Coriolis
talking about
makes...
Bob Nodell.
Okay, if he says Bob the science guy says that planes drift off their course because of Coriolis effect, then he doesn't understand the effect. It's a not actual deflection. Planes do not actually move off their course. Their course, in the case of Coriolis, would be a straight line, only appearing to curve because you turn underneath it. But that would mean we're turning underneath
Right.
planes now, wouldn't it? That would mean that you'd have a shortened flight time when travelling west if Earth's turning underneath the plane to cause it to seem to drift.
Right. But his position is that the plane starts out rotating with the Earth because
And
it
no
has
drift
the
then.
quote unquote conserved momentum.
Well, then there's no drift.
What I'm saying is because a pendulum is in one place, it's fixed to the ground. The pendulum isn't. That would mean, in his model, that the pendulum would conserve the momentum and it wouldn't be affected by it because it's in one place on the equator. Do you see what I mean? Both of those can't be true for him.
Yeah, it's a violation of the law of contradiction. You can't have drift and not have drift if the Earth is a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Either things drift at 15 degrees an hour because we're turning underneath, things not attached, or we don't. Well, the assertion that Earth and atmosphere travel together, assumed, in violation of the first law of thermodynamics, I might add, when it's assumed that they travel together, they're not drifting apart at 15 degrees an hour. So who cares? Or you just say, so you just assume Earth and atmosphere travel and spin. There's no proof of it then. Because if they were both stationary, there wouldn't be any effect. And if they're both travelling together, there'd be no effect. So this isn't proof we spin then. It's a pointless argument. Only that they claim we do spin underneath to cause a drift that is apparent at 15 degrees an hour as these things drift apart. So you throw a ball in the air and it drifts away at 15 degrees an hour as Earth turns under the ball. Other than that not happening, that is what they claim should happen. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope. Then gravity violates thermodynamics. Can you believe that?
just a concept.
Yep. But you would think if your concept violates nature, it's not going to be anything more than a concept.
Yeah, if your idea violates the second law of thermodynamics, then you're in big trouble.
And then we can laugh at you. There's no hope. Sir Arthur Eddington.
Well, according to their gravity, if it does exist, it's supposed to be a downward vector force, except a small helium balloon disproves the whole argument because it's just made up.
No, it's not. It's
Force.
changed.
That's
It's
the
not
old
a
and
force.
busted.
Yeah, it's now time-bending space.
They got to deal with their new hotness. The bendy, warpy, space-timey thing.
Remember, remember, they think now energy and matter are interchangeable. Ooh.
How do you bend time?
Gravity's not a force, and you can't bend concepts.
Come on, man.
But you can think of it as a force.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
Force.
think of it as
Yes.
a force, then you could bend concepts.
That's
It's
correct.
like
Paul
bending
says-
information. How are you going
Correct.
to bend the information?
It's like Paul says, how much time in the box?
No. The conceptual fabric of space-time, right? You can bend that. It's conceptual. Think about it. Just think about it bending. There you go. Done.
Just realize that there is no spoon. Right?
No force.
Then you'll
no
see
force.
that it's not space-time that bends. It's merely yourself.
Ooh.
But I can conjure different times in a man-made apparatus. Come on, guys, don't you get this?
Time is also a concept.
I know, but I can have these two clocks, and they're running slightly different from one another, and that's proof of time and time dilating, proof of bending.
Time is just a concept. When I built the diffuser next to me out of DVDs, you calculate how much time the sound, when reified again as a concept, as a wave in this instance, rather than the vibration of air molecules, the reality, right? When described in those conceptual means, you can calculate roughly what will happen with the sound wave. Not that it's a wave, it's a moving air particle as a medium. Nevertheless, that concept can then be actualized into a physical thing that does something. Now, is the maths and description the thing that's happening? No. In the case of gravity, is the maths actually a thing happening at all? No. And they tell you so. Now, in the case of me calculating how to make something diffuse sound, I can actualize it. I can make it a thing and then listen to it doing it. In the case of gravity, you can't. But you can think about it, though. You just can't make it actual. I say that because someone commented on my video, check out Nathan using a mathematical formula to calculate diffusion. Yeah, and then I built something, and it did it in reality. Now do that with gravity. What's that? You can't, but you can think about it all day long as being a force. That's wonderful. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Not
No,
yet.
no, because all they use is equations, not actual science.
So you got the same troll on your comments in the Master B Flatzoids. You got the same guy saying the same thing. Well, then maths you can't ever use ever because you say it's fake. No. Just abstract. Get your words right. Descriptions, right? I'd never use language ever again. If I thought it was fake, I wouldn't be talking right now. My words aren't the thing I describe. It's abstract.
Yeah, you see, this Samuel Rowbotham troll guy also says closed systems let matter through boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope.
9!
9. Danko.
Well, come on now. Come on, we can do time. The sun rises at a certain time every day. Things happening in time, so I can manipulate time. So that is a viable independent variable, right?
Show me you manipulating time.
Okay, click a stopwatch. I stopped
That's
it.
not time.
I manipulate that.
That's not time. That's a conceptual visualization of a mathematical construct we've derived to describe what you're calling time. It's not time.
It's a conjuration in a man-made device.
Yeah, to show me they still even then starting and stopping a stopwatch isn't in any way manipulating anything in physical actuality. Nothing's changing other than the numbers on your man-made device. So again, I'll ask the same question. Show me you manipulating time.
Well, if no time passes, then like if I do say, okay, this moment nothing's happening, so I'm manipulating time.
Well, no, time doesn't pass. No. Time doesn't pass. No. We're not passing time. No, that's not happening either. Show me time passing. You can't do that. It's merely your description of something that you experience as, again, your word.
Time is defined as the progression of existence. Does stopping a stopwatch stop the progression of existence?
Look, even if your poetry... Hold on, Chocolate. Even if your poetry gets you to the position where you can eloquently reify this concept into something I can imagine as being real, even at that point, which you're getting closer and closer to with every second that elapses, we're never gonna vary it. That's the point. That's what Paul's asking, right?
Exactly. Vary the progression of existence?
Not varying
definitely
anything.
Not with a stopwatch.
It's not varying anything. That's
sorry.
the point. He asked if it's an independent variable. No. Time is a concept, not something you can vary and manipulate to cause anything.
Sorry, but was the concept of time not thought construct due to them seeing the sun come up a certain... How can I say? They actually
No.
based the concept of time on the sun.
Your description of the elapse of the progress of the sun, if you want to use that as the description of time, well, what's the phenomena? Well, what you could call sun the phenomena, but what are you trying to figure out the cause of? You're saying that you varying time causes the sun to rise? This is absurd.
Yeah, didn't you know if you don't hit the gong in the morning, the sun won't rise?
Paul, start your stopwatch. Let's see if the sun stops.
Click. Nope, it didn't. Well, look, it appears like it stopped.
Oh, really? Yeah, right. Let's stop right there.
It appeared like it did.
While we're on the
What did
subject, though.
Chocolate say? Progression of what?
Sun. Any evidence of the distance thereof?
No,
It's not even tangible, so how can you have distance to it?
You can't. Maybe one day, Icarus will get there.
So the passing of time is the progression of existence?
You can describe it with whatever poetic words you like, Neil. Now show me it varying.
No, you can't, but I always wondered, like, then what is happening then?
Nothing's happening. The progression of time. A million and one things could be happening.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, poetry.
Here's. I'm taking my Glober hat off for a minute. And of course,
you're
Jesse
in a
decides to do
panel doing a hangout.
Hold on.
Hold on.
God.
That's
Go ahead, Paul.
Hold on. This is how I define time. It's a man-made construct to measure change. That's it. That's how I define time.
Measure, that's maths. So it's still abstract.
Yeah, nothing in that definition because things do change. Like I'm changing position, the sun changes position in the sky. The things progress and change on the TV. Everything changes, but the time itself is a construct to measure that change.
Can time be seen as an entropic force? It's just an arrow straight forward.
No, because time can't do anything. That's a man-made construct.
No, you can describe the entropy increase with the amount of time. Again, a description. So it's directly related to time. How much of an entropy increase? Well, you qualify it with how much time has elapsed. But again, it's just describing something that's occurring. The diffusion in time of my sound through my diffuser. I'm so proud of it. That is just me describing it to you. Me sitting here and listening it break up the sound and not reflect it anymore is the actual physicality of it. No amount of poetry will ever give you that. So distance to the sun?
What is the sun?
I don't know. I even asked my
An
kid,
apparition.
hoping that with her childlike wonderment she'll be able to answer. And she just says it's hot.
It's a non-local apparition.
But is it physical?
We don't know. It might
Well,
be.
No,
Well, it might be.
non-local
It might
apparitions
be.
are not physical.
It might be. The source of whatever
Wait a
creates the
minute.
light we see might
But
be
the light
physical.
arriving, is what it is.
I would say that our observation of that light is physical because it's interacting with my eye, and I can feel the warmth of my heat on my skin. So the light and the heat is physical, but I don't know about the source.
Exactly, but it might be. But it might be. We don't know either way. The assertion that it is, in the respect that it is in the heliocentric model, can be debunked. They claim it's a burning ball of gas in a vacuum. No, it isn't. That's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. No, it absolutely is not what they claim it is in physical actuality, as they claim in a model which we don't live on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Negative.
I think you would need that spherical Earth first. I don't think we've got that. See question number 1.
What, any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Yeah.
About the R value? Any evidence of the R value?
Negative.
Say again, Arwin?
Oh,
Breaking up, Arwin. Say
I
again.
want-
Really?
Try once more. I think someone was just talking. Go
Am
on,
I
Arwin.
echoing or something?
Just say whatever you're going to say.
In R, you have to trust.
In R you trust. Right, we got there in the end. Radius Dominus, Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus, Arwin. Arwin. Any
I got
evidence?
something for you back on the light issue. Hold on. The wave function collapses when it hits your skin because you determine the wave function. So did it travel from the sun to your skin or to your eye? It's a wave function until it collapses when it hits your skin or your eye.
No. What the hell are you babbling about? The wave function collapses? No. What are you talking about?
I know. So when sunlight hits my eye, the photon comes into existence, right?
No.
Because I know I can see the light. It doesn't?
It doesn't come
Is my
into
eye a
existence.
detector?
No. But what I'm more interested in is you thinking that you've got some sort of wave function collapse in your eye.
Well, does it not? Would my eye not be like a detector in the quantum eraser experiment? My eye would be that.
No.
You know where the particle is.
Just
once it hits
because,
my eye?
no, you're convoluting two things. Because you've got a diffraction limit, right, which would be the point of resolution limit being breached or reached and breached, calculable in the Rayleigh criterion. That's diffraction. Well, diffraction, in terms of the double slit experiment, has got light being passed through a double slit to the point where it diffracts. That would be split up into all the separate bars that you have. Well, at that point, it's what you've described correctly as a wave function or a probability distribution. But that doesn't mean that any light that goes through an aperture and is beyond the diffraction limit is light that's being diffracted that you can then cause to collapse by knowing which path it went through. These are very different things. They both involve interference. The interference through the double slit diffraction is you're scattering light across all the different bars, but your interference in the aperture is at the point where you can't resolve 2 pixels in a camera, or you get a blur of something into the distance when you're looking through your eyeball, i.e. interference, diffraction, same thing. But the double slits making the diffraction pattern, i.e. the point where angular resolution's reached and breached in your eye, collapse into actualization. So when you know the knowledge of the which path in the double slit experiment, you no longer have interference, you have 2 bars. It's either gone through one slit or gone through the other slit. You know which, because you know which. You've got the knowledge of the which path. But that's nothing to do with the diffraction limit. You seem to be convoluting 2 things. They've just both got the word diffraction in them.
Well, I mean, doesn't the quantum eraser experiment though indicate that it's all light is a wave function until you determine its location, basically.
Location? No, it's path. Path it took. You don't know which path the light has took until you figure out which path it took. At that point, when you know which path it's taken, you then force the light to actualize. Now, they call that wave function collapse. I'm smiling because this has got quite a few implications attached to it. Up until the point that you, the knower, acquired the knowledge of which path, it was just a probability, right? Then you acquire the knowledge, and it actualizes. So you are directly influencing actuality. I've got goosebumps saying this. I don't know how much I should expand on this. This isn't necessarily flat Earth. It's directly linked to our creation, though, in terms of how our reality presents itself. So it is nature of our existence. But you don't have to extrapolate that out very far to realise the implications of what that means. So,
well, that's what I'm driving at, Nathan.
Go on. Well, you take over. Go ahead.
I may be saying it. I may be saying it a different way than you're saying it. That's basically what I'm saying. Our perception of a light particle brings it into coherence. That's basically what I'm saying. Our perception of it.
Our perception of it, correct. It's physically actualized by knowledge and by a knower. So actualization of reality is accomplished by people knowing, by a knower. That's got quite wide-reaching implications in terms of the makeup of reality. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting subject, and one that, you know, when you finally contemplate what that means to you as a person and the reality that you're faced with, a lot of it's shared, but a lot of it isn't. You can go out into the metaphorical woods and render your own reality. You're the arbiter of your own reality. There's a lot of things you can extrapolate out from this that are all very, very wonderful things. On the other hand, if you were somebody that wanted to control people, you wouldn't particularly want them to know that they're the arbiter of their own reality if you're trying to keep them under control. I'll say no more. Shout out to Sacred Knowledge, aka Universe, for the super chat. No amount of poetry shall ever allow thee to see something as lovely as the gravity. Lol. Very beautiful poetry indeed. Gravity's not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Sacred Knowledge, aka Universe, thank you again for the super chat. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No, because matter cannot go through boundaries.
That's right.
Just that statement alone debunks the whole globe.
Yeah, you can't have a globe in a sky vacuum without a container. Which is their model, is the premise, is the basis of their model. They've got Earth as a sphere in a sky vacuum without gas expanding in all directions as it does in reality. But it's just a model. I mean, it doesn't matter that it violates the second law of thermodynamics. It just means it's not real. The globe, that is. Space, that is. Earth spinning, that is. It's all fake.
I laugh so much as get citations, just like with refraction and things. It's the same doublespeak. They say there's this one where they explain open systems, closed systems, isolated systems. Now he says closed system in thermodynamics, you can have energy going over the boundaries, but no matter going in and out. Then right under there. But Earth is a closed system.
Yeah, Earth is a closed system according to Bill Nye, in spite of the fact that Voyager has left and they've claimed to travel to the moon, and there's nothing impeding any matter travelling out, like satellites that they claim they've got. They just haven't got any of these things. And they've also got a massive problem in the form of, well, if Voyager can get out, so can all the gas we're breathing, which is expanding in high speeds in all directions. So, yeah, it debunks the whole model. We never lived on the model anyway.
Doesn't the water, the bottle garden, allow energy to come in and out, but matter not?
Yeah, that's what a closed system is. Quick shout out to Godzilla37. Says, this is from my phone, so sorry if it's trees. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Godzilla.
Yeah, terrarium. It's a closed system. Well, you get open terrariums, but Craig was talking about a closed terrarium, which only lets energy in and out, no matter.
Well, he I think was alluding to some little valve in the sky that allows a little bit of matter out. I think he said a little bit gets out.
Then it's not
Is Voyager a little bit?
Yeah.
Is Voyager a little bit, or is it just a complete fake sham lie? Because we're not next to a vacuum with stuff capable of leaving, because so would the gas, and we'd all be dead.
Yeah, the logic escapes him though.
It's so simple to understand. If you claim the universe is an isolated system and you have systems inside that isolated system, if it's open, that open system will be part of the isolated system now. If it's closed, it can't bring any matter through. It's just going to have energy going through the transformative barriers. Very simple to understand.
Well, that concludes the housekeeping. Excellent stuff. So, diffraction. This limitation we have based on our aperture has been hijacked and called Earth curve. Now, simultaneously, we're told that we can't see a geometric horizon and that it only exists in the maths. We wouldn't expect to see it. And yet it has been reified based on the angular reduction of items into the distance and called Earth curvature in mathematics that does not include perspective. Now, the way their maths, the Earth curve maths, ignores, nay, hijacks perspective, is it takes the size of a target that you're looking at in the distance and gives its size in either meters or feet. And that size will not change with distance. This mountain on screen now, let's say it's 1,000 feet. Well, it's 1,000 feet at this distance, and it's 1,000 feet if it's the other side of the presupposed sphere Earth. It's still 1,000 feet. And if you straighten out the line in orthographic view with you in the left of the picture and the target on the right, according to them, let's say 12,000 miles, this mountain could have a line drawn between you and it, because it's still 1,000 feet and there's nothing getting in the way, right? No Earth curve obstruction. Oh, by the way, we don't see geometric horizons. They only exist in the maths. But by calling this mountain by its actual size, they ignore the fact that its angular size reduces with distance. And by ignoring that fact, they can call the effect of perspective Earth curvature. They've hijacked the diffraction limit and called it a physical Earth curve edge horizon, later to be denied here at trench level. Now, I bring this up because I'm being challenged on diffraction. Well, I'd like to discuss diffraction very much, because that effect has been called Earth curve in a calculator that doesn't account for perspective with actual sizes for targets and a physical geometric sphere edge horizon based on an R value you can't measure. So I'm very keen to talk about diffraction.
Yeah, well, the guy tried yesterday and fell on his face.
Right, yesterday?
Why are the people who want to talk about diffraction not keen on talking about diffraction? That's a little weird.
Because they know it dismantles their argument. They just want to make us look stupid in the meantime. They're making themselves look dumb. It's just a smokescreen.
Of course.
Isn't there a connection between the 1.22 and the 1.22?
You tell me. Is there a connection between the calculation of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly blocking boats and buildings with its physical actuality and a globe Earth model that doesn't exist in our actual reality? Or is it the diffraction limit at 1.22 times the wavelength? So, you tell me.
Well, Nathan, which one is scientifically validated? The diffraction
Neither, they're
limit
both maths.
or the fantasy curve?
Neither are science. This is maths. But mathematically, calculating something, calling it Earth curve, when it's also got a similar calculation for the diffraction limit, that's got to raise a few eyebrows, right? Because perspective doesn't just go on holiday when you compare it to Earth curve maths. Yeah, they've called perspective Earth curve. That's the bottom line.
So things converge into the distance.
Yeah, something we all experience every time we look at anything ever.
So that line that's drawn on a scope, that's infinitely. That thing doesn't go with the convergent, does it?
Everything will eventually converge based on its diffraction limit. A human hair will disappear at about 6 or 8 feet. It's just too small to see. There is an overall convergence point we call the horizon. It could also move closer with weather.
That's
At
why
what
they're
distance
forced to
does the
use
hair
Muppet vision
appear
to
to move
keep the
down,
light going.
Nathan?
Hang on, I'm in the middle of talking here. My goodness. You'll have your chance. So why did they use Muppet vision, friend? Tell me.
To ignore perspective.
All right, pass it on to that other guy. See what he says.
Oh, do you want to ask again then?
Is that Mr. Ed?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
So at which distance does the
Of
hair
course
appear
it
to
is.
move down, Nathan?
In an orthographic view, that would be the view used in Earth curve maths, the hair will never disappear on a flat plane.
Right, so why do things
No,
go
wrong.
down then? Why
Wrong.
do they disappear
Sorry.
bottom up, Nathan?
Not right. Sorry. According
Why do they
to
disappear
orthographic
bottom up then?
clearly not allowed to have a back and forth in a normal way. We're fundy now. So, according to the maths used for Earth curve, the hair will never disappear. Unless Earth curve gets in the way. Why would that be?
Well, you talked about diffraction, and we can see things moving over the horizon and disappearing bottom up. So, how do those two things mix exactly?
They don't. I've just pointed out that in your maths, unless Earth curve gets in the way, a hair will never disappear. And I'm asking you why you'd use maths that ignores the effect of convergence into the distance. It's on every picture. This picture now, it's got a convergence point. It's got things getting smaller into the distance. And if there was a hair on this waterfall, I wouldn't be able to see it. It'd be too small. Now, according to orthographic view mathematics, that hair, let's say it's 6 inches long, you would be able to see it. And that's wrong. And I'm asking you why your Earth curve maths has a glaring error where things don't ever get too small to see. They're always assigned an actual size that never changes with distance. Why would that be?
Things get too small to see in reality. However,
Not in your maths, they
we
don't.
can see both.
Yeah, I know they do in reality. For the 4th time, why don't they do it in Earth curve maths?
Finished. You're fundy muting me. Stop fundy.
Suck my balls. I'll say it for a 5th time. Earth curve maths, the hair doesn't disappear. Why?
Muting me again?
Why'd you keep saying muting me on my 6th attempt for you to justify why Earth curve maths only has a hair disappearing behind Earth curve?
I wasn't finished with my question. Stop fundy muting
I'm asking
me.
you
Thank
something. I've asked it 6 times. Oh, so it's ignore my question and tell me I'm
No.
muting you while you talk through my repetition for the 7th time?
You never heard my question because you're fundy muting me.
You
So
didn't
how
answer
can you know
our
my
question. You haven't
You just
yet
keep
to
talking
answer.
Through me.
You're yet to answer the question you've
But
been
you
asked.
keep talking through me, so you can't hear my question.
This
Nathan.
tactic is boring.
So if you stop
Ed.
It's boring, yeah, it's
muting me-
boring.
Just
I'm
Answer the
bored.
question.
Yeah. You've been asked a
Just
question.
answer the question.
The question specifically about orthographic view and why Earth curve maths doesn't have a hair disappear until it goes behind Earth curve, when clearly hairs get too small to see at a much shorter distance. You're not answering. You're moving on to a question you're saying you're being muted on. No, we're asking you why Earth curve maths has no perspective and uses actual size and calls perspective, things getting too small to see, Earth curve. Why is that? Why is it hijacked perspective? Why isn't it included? Why have they called it Earth curve?
So can I ask my question now?
Yeah, you can get out. That's what you can do. Get out.
Yeah, what a coward. He
What
won't
a
even
coward.
answer a simple
Complete coward.
question.
8 times I asked the question and his response is, can I ask my question? No, you can suck on my testicles.
You see, if he has to answer it, he's going to concede. And he won't concede, so obviously he can't answer it.
Guy's a moron.
Yeah, they know they don't have perspective accounted for in Earth curve maths. They know actual sizes have been exposed as not decreasing with distance. Yet when they do disappear into the distance, they're claimed to be behind a physical geometric sphere edge horizon they tell us doesn't exist. Yeah, they're fucked.
It's just dishonesty from him, that's all.
And they keep putting how fucked they are on display every time they come in and use these ridiculous little tactics. It's like, do you think people aren't paying attention to your tactics?
I mean,
I think this is working for you guys.
Yeah, how dumb must you be to come in every day and get your ass whipped every single time and doing exactly the same thing?
Well, he's only coming in with only one option in his mind. The only way things disappear bottom up is Earth curve, except he doesn't understand the deck, the angular resolution, all the different things that the Rayleigh criteria shows up, and it's going to disappear bottom up on the flat plane.
Demonstrated.
Can that be proven scientifically?
No.
That the only way things disappear is Earth curve?
Why are you obsessed with everything being proven scientifically? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. What's the effect? Come across an effect. Not you.
No, I'm just asking because I thought I heard one time you're trying to formulate it if they say that Earth curve is the only reason for things disappearing.
Well, after listening to QE's explanation for it, it's like self-evident, isn't it? What are you trying to validate as a phenomenon when it's self-evident? And you think about it and go, yeah, why do I need to validate this? I can just show it happening.
I would still like them fumble around it.
Yeah, but according to them, science doesn't prove things when it's convenient to use that terminology.
Exactly.
Yeah, when they've been called out as not having any, they say, well, it doesn't prove anything. Yeah, it does. But you just didn't have any. I'm sick of the tactics, to be honest. I'm getting sick of it. That's why I've decided, I was thinking in the shower, what do I want to do that's positive? I might as well do that now. So, I've got about 150 people watching there or thereabouts. So, I shouted them out, pre-show, beginning of this show, and I'm going to do it right now for everyone watching live. So, Martin Leakey, go and subscribe today. So, this is Martin, and he does a show live. He also does premiering streams with all of his research. He's grown quite a lot in the recent days, and if you don't know him already, I'm going to give you a copy of his link and stick it in the live stream chat. So go and subscribe to Martin. What I would ask, please tell him if you've not subscribed to him already, and you're going as a new subscriber, tell him, say, Martin, Nathan sent me to subscribe to you, and I love your stuff, you're ace. Because he is, Martin's wonderful, so go and check him out. Also, Taboo Conspiracy. So he's got a brand new channel, as he lost his last one. I don't know the reasons why, neither does he, by the sounds of things. But he's released a recent video, or his first video on his latest channel. So check him out. He's now Taboo Conspiracy 3. And you can subscribe to him in a moment when I stick his link in the chat box. So recently I've been twerking for subs and asking people to shout me out. So I'm going to hopefully return the favour in kind. A couple of people each day I'll say, look, these are the people that you need to be going and checking out. You're probably not getting advertised to Taboo Conspiracy 2, or 3 as it is now, or Martin Leaker, but I can certainly support them and share their links and tell you to go and subscribe. As I say, please let them know that I've sent you. Hopefully more people will be doing the same through time, and lots of other people will just shout out their compadres in this arena. There you go. There's my positive input for the day.
Well, let's go back to why the ballers only have one answer for things disappearing bottom up, Earth curve. And then when you say the black swan argument to them, well, that thing that makes things disappear is refracted, which gets them in trouble because you'd have to see it first to know the refraction. But if you never saw it, how do you know where it's at? They're just in this constant circle of contradiction.
Yeah, nothing's where it's supposed to be, and yet they need it to be physical and actual to to then move things with their refraction, which is based on our.
Yeah, it's interesting that Earth curve makes things disappear, but Earth curve doesn't make Earth curve disappear. It's refraction.
Yeah, but that's based on Earth curve. There lies in the paradox. You can't say you've moved the horizon with an R value to give you 7/6 terrestrial refraction if you can't measure the R value because you can't see it because of refraction, and round you go. It leaves the model in a paradox. In other words, the model becomes untenable.
Precisely.
But they
But
still
the-
argue it.
Well,
They're
because they got
fundies.
nothing else, Neil.
They're zealots. That's what zealotry is. In the face of your cult leader being exposed, you'll still defend him. In the case of them going to jail, you'll still visit him and defend him publicly, or her. You know, people are like that, and they're in a cult. They don't know it yet. Maybe they will over time. Globe's a cult. It's a religious belief. And the people who defend it vehemently here are zealots.
Yeah,
They should know
people
by
love-
now. They should know by now. They're called the faux cult.
Boom, boom!
Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, people love for them to be able to think for you. Why would you want to be able to think for yourself these days? It's so difficult.
Well, that's just it. It's difficult. If somebody's already done the work for you, you don't have to think. I've had people tell me, you know, I don't need to prove the earth is a ball, even to myself. Thousands of people who are a lot smarter than I have done it before me for thousands of years. Therefore, I don't need to do that. And I said to him, well, so you're just going to give up your authority to just some unknown entity, which completely goes opposite to what you experience? He was like, well, yeah.
I was going to say.
I was like, well,
I was going to say the answer will be yes, yes, yes. And if that's not real, you better tell me what's real right now.
exactly.
Chocolate, you should have asked him for his bank account number and just said, "Can I please have all your money?" Because you'll just look after his money well for him.
Yeah. I should have, man.
No, you shouldn't.
It's incredible how people are so willing to give up their senses, to give up their own self-authority, just to some unknown entity. It's insane to me. For something they've never experienced, have only seen in cartoons and textbooks and movies. Like, I don't understand that mentality. That's insane to me. And these are people that think they're grown. But to me, it sounds like I'm telling you Santa's not real, and you're like, well, he is real. Somebody, my parents told me he's real. I mean, what? Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, there's a reason why people avoid critical thinking for themselves, because there comes a level of responsibility if you find out something. And so they're running away from finding out what reality is because they like living where they're at and they don't want that changed.
I don't know if that's true. I think no, I don't think that's true. I think if people are taught critical thinking, or they know how to do it, they'd do it. But they're not. No, very few people are taught critical thinking skills. One of the schools I went to quite a few, was a posh private school, and they did teach it. Now, I didn't give it any thought at the time, but I later found out that that's not what comprehensive schools teach. So I think, just going from my experience, I think if people are taught how to critically think, they will.
Yeah, that's a different subject, though. My comment was based on people who would hear chocolate bring up, say, a statement of something, and then at that point decide they don't want to go down that road because it's going to have consequences. So they're willfully, I'm talking about the people who willfully will not look into it.
Yeah, there's a subdivide between the people who find wonderment in the idea of not knowing and the people who are truly terrified by that. So we don't know. Well, that's scary. For me, it's like, wow, that's cool.
I mean, I met a lot of people that I've talked to, not just flat Earth, but, spiritual subjects, economic subjects, even sports, and what's happening with their favorite team. And I ask them, questions, and then they said, well, I didn't know there was a place I could go to figure out the facts myself. I just took it for whatever people told me. And it's not, it's always, they're believing the media, they get lazy because someone else is telling them. And then when you tell them something different, it's a contrast. They know there's a contrast. But then if they're interested, they'll say, well, that's opposite of what I've been taught all my life on this subject. And you say, well, let's talk about it. And then you'll see if they're interested or they're not.
It's funny because yesterday on my way home, I'm taking a cab on the way to the airport, and the cab driver is talking to me, and he's telling me about some vacation that he was on because I was on vacation, so he was a bit chatty and told me about a vacation he was on with a lake and all this, and proceeded to tell me how flat the lake was, whatever lake he was at. It was beautiful. He could see his reflection. It was like a mirror. He just kept saying how beautiful and flat. You could see everything. You could see miles and miles. And then I just told him, well, you know why that is right? It's because it's just flat. And he was like, yeah, I mean, it's so flat. And I'm like, what? And I said, well, no. What I mean is it's just flat. The earth is flat. It's because you're not looking over a ball, right? And when he realized what I was saying, he started saying, well, I don't know, that's a little bit much. And I said, how is that a little bit much when you literally were just explaining to me for 10 minutes how flat and beautiful it looked? Right? So you're going against your own experience. It's not even a story, your own experience. And I just told you, well, just accept your experience for what it is. And that's when it caught him like, oh, wait, no, it can't be that, because that's just crazy.
Indeed, the Earth is obviously and observably flat. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.